What's up, Moose fam? I know it's late, and I may not get anybody on here tonight to watch, but it will be up for you guys to see tomorrow when you're fresh and awake. We just got back home from Game 5 versus Drummondville, and the game is amazing. The boys played their hearts out. Did everything they should, and I'm real proud of them. And we'll break down. Hey, honey, we'll break down the game tomorrow. But tonight I'm going to take some time and discuss what happened after the game, simply because of my hobby here on YouTube. I'm often scrutinized. Not only by people in the fan base, but also, the Mooseheads organization, take a gander at what I'm doing as well to make sure that, I'm safe to speak with the boys and so on and so forth, right? So I hold my temper very well. I'm a very passionate fan. I'm sure all of you guys know that. But I try to hold my temper as much as possible. You guys see me, I'm full of positivity online. In the past, since 2021, I've gone to probably over 200 games. Well, it has to be over 200 games because playoffs and stuff. And I've never had an altercation in that building or around that building until tonight. So, here's the scoop. I'm going to tell you my version as I remember it. There are two sides to every story, and this is my truth. This is what I'm telling you is the truth. And I don't expect anybody to believe me without, first doing their research or talking to other people. I know there's three sides to every story, but this is what I know about what happened tonight. This week I made a couple videos. We could say targeting Luke Woodworth, number 19 on Drummondville. I think he's a dirty player. I made that well known. I don't think that's the way Nova Scotia plays hockey. I have video evidence of him taking 2 dives and not getting called for embellishment. Aside from that, he's always complaining to the ref. He's just his whiner. I'm not a fan of him. I don't like that type of hockey. I can't name one person on our team, who acts like that. The closest it comes to is McPhee, and all he really does is beak off to the team. He doesn't, throw himself on the ground in pain when there's no reason to. He doesn't try to draw penalty trips when nobody's around him. We play good, clean hockey here in Nova Scotia. Luke Woodworth is 1 hour outside of town, and he plays a completely different side of hockey that, in my opinion, is not worthy of respect. So I made that known. I made that more than clear to everybody on at least 2 of my videos this week. And that's my right. And here's my advice to Luke Woodworth, man. If you can't take criticism from somebody with a inky binky little channel with 383 wonderful subscribers, don't get me wrong, I appreciate every one of you, but I'm not big time. If you can't take a little bit of criticism from little old me, you're going to have a whole lot of problems in your career moving forward. There's going to be people saying a lot worse about you than what I said, buddy. I didn't attack you on anything but your hockey style. So after the game tonight, that's to preference, whatever the word is. That's just leading up to what I'm about to talk about. So we're on a high. We took game 5, and again, the boys played stellar hockey, just absolute clinic they put on for Drummondville. So we go out back after the game, as this may very well be the last day we get to see these players. And we haven't sat out back most of the years, or most of this year. We typically just go home, and that's it. So when we walked outside tonight, there's about 30 people out there standing there with Luke Woodworth. And there was a car parked blocking everything. with Quebec license plates, which is fine. I made a comment about, that's a stupid place to park, because it is. It's a stupid place to park. And this guy kept staring me down. One of the guys that was with Luke Woodworth. And first of all, Luke, buddy, if I were you, I'd be embarrassed by the entourage you keep. That's your name that they're running around with in their mouth. I'd like to think that it wasn't you that said, hey, I seen this guy talking bad about me. Can you please go tell him not to? I'd like to think that one of your buddies seen the videos and he took it upon himself to approach me. So what happened was I'm standing there waiting for the boys to come out, and this guy kept staring at me in a gray hat. I'd say he's probably like 21, 22, maybe a little older. But there was about 30 people there with Luke. And he looks at me and goes, you're the podcast guy. I'm like, yeah, man. Nice to meet you. He's like, no, this is 1-9 right here. This is Woodworth. Got anything you want to say to him in front of his face? Huh? You got anything you want to say to him in front of his face, bud? Now, what am I supposed to do? I consider myself a journalist. I only cover one team, but that's because that's the team I have passion for. But I do consider myself a journalist. A journalist is somebody who puts something out there to disseminate to the public. That's what I do. So as a journalist, I'm not going to go back on what I said. I fully believe in what I said. I think he's a bit of a bum player. I think he's a whiner and a crybaby. And, he flops around on the ice trying to get calls. So I told him, I said, I have no problem telling Luke what I think. I said, I think he's a bum, and he's no Scotian to me. And that's when they went off. They lost it, screaming, blah, blah, blah. And I was just laughing at them. They advanced on us. A couple older gentlemen advanced on us. At that point, I'm not going to name any names. If they want to out themselves, they can out themselves. But a couple people came over to my defense. We're Moose Country. We stand together. Just like our team, we stand together. They came over and, started telling them, shut up, get out of here, leave them alone, blah, blah, blah. And then insults started getting thrown on both sides. I want you to know, in case anybody's watching this, after I stood my ground and stated my opinion, I quickly became the peacemaker when everybody was advancing. And I'm not better than anybody that was there. I'm not saying that. But while everybody was advancing, I was pushing people back. I didn't want to fight. There's no point in fighting. I don't know how old these guys were. They were all adults. There were some 50-year-olds. There were some 20-year-olds. But I don't want to fight anybody. I'm a 42-year-old man. But I am going to defend myself. I want to let you guys know right now that not a single hand was hit, put on anybody else. There was no punches thrown, not a single hit. It was just words. There is a camera out there. I really hope that, it has audio. And, when they check it out, they realize that they attacked us verbally. Not physically. There was nobody harmed, but they attacked. They came at us. Like I said, I sat out there for 200 games plus, and I've never had an incident out back. We've always been very courteous and kind to the players, telling them good job, even if they beat us. Moose Country is hockey country, and we've always been very classy in the way we treat the visiting team. So I was very disappointed tonight when they started with us and, we had to show out. And in all honesty, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. I don't like the look that it puts on us. And, it's nobody's fault. It's nobody's fault. Both sides were heated. A lot of passion on both sides, and they believe that they were, sticking up for their buddy, their relative, whatever it was. But you got to realize he's going to face, if he is this grand old hockey player, he's going to face worse criticism than me, and I'm entitled to my opinion. I wasn't too hard on the guy. I think his play style of hockey is disgusting, but I didn't attack him on a personal level. I don't know the kid. Maybe he's constantly volunteering in the community, and that's awesome. I don't know him. I just know what I see about him on the ice, and I'm not impressed. And I have every right to that opinion. And if somebody's going to approach me and, you know, threaten violence on me because of my opinion, I'm going to stand my ground. So what happened was, after all the, you know, jaw jacking and yada yada this and yada that, nothing happened. Cops showed up. The Scotiabank Center called them, which they have the right to. There's something going on in their property. I would expect them to. The boys were told they can't come out that door because there was an altercation. When the cops showed up, 2 showed up at first, and just 2 officers, and they got on the radio, and there was yelling still going on. So dispatch, that's all they heard. The cops on the other end, that's all they heard was yelling. So they showed out in full force. 10 cop cars showed up, which again is embarrassing. What pisses me off is when they were told the people who started this shit are, you know, being held inside for, you know, their protection. They came at me and another guy, and were threatening arrest against me and this other guy. And you know, after speaking with the supervisor, I informed her what actually happened, and she dismissed the officers involved and allowed me to go about my day. Told me I was more than welcome to go back to where I was. So in a nutshell, that's it. There were words said on both sides. Nobody got physical, not on their side or our side. I think that if they would have won tonight, none of that would have happened. What I said about Woodworth wouldn't have mattered. Sorry, my wife had me running after the game because she forgot a sweater inside, and my throat hasn't been the same since. I'm fat. I'm I'm out of shape. But I still got 30 seconds in me, so don't test me. So that's what happened. I'm going to get to some of the comments because, graciously enough, there are a few people in the chat, and I'm going to get to them. Melissa says hi. Sam Kirk says, I'm curious what the actual hell happened. Melissa says, I mean, there's also a picture circulating of him someone calling him number 1 enemy with lots of comments against him. So it's not just me. It's not just me. I know it's not just me that's seen how he plays. He's a bum player. He's a desperate player. I think that's what I want to call him. Christopher Edwards, we did great tonight, and I'm happy with the boys. Yeah, they did. There was a great win. Sam says legitimately. He'll get Shoresy chirped, and then something after the game will happen. Sam Kirk also says, personal opinion, Buddy is a worse goon than Marchand. So I don't think he's a goon. He doesn't hit anybody. He's not a fighter. He's cheap. He's just a cheap player. Tyler's in the chat. What up, Big W? Miss you at the arena, buddy. I really hope if we go into the when we go into the second round, that we get to see your face on the big screen. Christopher says, damn, wish I was there with you, Colin. I would have told them myself. Yeah, I think that's the issue, Chris, and I appreciate that. And like I said, Moose family stick together and we stand up for each other. But I think it just got out of hand for no reason. I'm just a podcaster. I'm allowed to have an opinion. If you don't like it, move on, right? Tyler also says, called into work tonight, win my game. Yes, sir. The team are the bomb card game black team. Epic, my heart game on Monday. Let's go. He's just cheering them on, man. Love your positivity, Tyler. Melissa Landry, was an incredible game tonight, Tyler. It really was, man. Sam says, we stand up for each other. We're the herd, 100%. Melissa, in front of kids, no, nonetheless. 100%. You know what, though? I'm not innocent. In all honesty, he could have said, you want to say something to Woodworth now? And I could have walked away. And I should have walked away. But again, I would have no integrity if I didn't stand by what I said. And that's not an excuse. Like I said, I'm 42 years old. I could have walked away. Would they have rushed behind me to get me? Maybe, but I don't know because I didn't give them a chance. I don't like the way this makes me look, the way it makes our Moose community look. I don't like the way it makes the organization look. But like I said, I've never heard of anything like this happening before, and I think they were just sour about the loss. They should have had us, in their minds, beaten 4 games, and here we are going to game 6, and I think that's their issue. Julian says Bakemo just scored against Cape Breton. Oh, Cape Breton's out. Sorry for you guys. See you next year. Thanks, Julian. Melissa having a conversation with Julian. Julian says under review. What happened after the game? I saw the cops. So that's exactly what this is all about. I'm not gonna say it all over again, but this will be up on Facebook, so you can go back and look at it. I explained everything that happened from my eyes. Canada free of speech. That's right, 100% freedom speech. Kat says, Sebastian says, I didn't even know what it was about. I was just down to fight. Fucking Sebastian. I'll tell you one thing, man. Because you owed it yourself, Sebastian, I'm going to say there's a lot of people in this building that talk shit about Sebastian. Okay? You know who you are. Most people are very loving in that building and keep their mouth shut and mind their own business. But a lot of people talk a lot of shit about Sebastian. And I'll let you know right now that if you're nice to Sebastian and you treat him with respect, he will do the same for you. And if you ever need somebody to stand toe to toe with you when somebody's bullying you or threatening you, he will be the first one by your side to help you. So I just want to put that out there, man. I appreciate you. Melissa Bahaha, Sebastian. Elixir says, love Sebastian. John Seitman, was an incredible game tonight. Thanks to all the Moose Country for bringing the noise. The noise was incredible. That place was absolutely electric tonight. You guys did amazing. No doubt. Chris says, Sam. Oh, Chris says, Melissa, damn, wish I was there. And Woodworth is a crybaby, 100%. Elixir, what even happened? Was the altercation with the Drummondville fans. So it was with the Drummondville, it was with Luke Woodworth's entourage. And like I said, if I was Woodworth, I'd hang my head in shame that that's who's toting around for me, trying to start fights after games. And, nothing had to be said. You didn't have to come up to me and get me to repeat what I said. I'm not going to not say it. But like, why? Why, man? It's a hockey game. He lost. That's my opinion of him as a hockey player. Who cares? Just shut your mouth. It was a great game. Move on. And boys, you're all from an hour away, as you said. Halifax is your team. Halifax, not Drummondville. It was pretty wild out there, Chris. Happy you weren't there. No goal, so Cape Breton's still in it. Jeez, that's a long game. They had kids in tears. Yeah, my son wasn't happy, especially when the cops told me they were going to arrest me if I didn't leave. I begged them to arrest me. Begged them. And they wouldn't, because I had no case, because I wasn't doing anything. Kat says, oh my God, no goal again. Yeah. Off topic, but what a game. Friggin' amazing game, man. We're going to get back into that at some point, too, tomorrow. No goal, no goal. Third time, no goal. Third time, holy crap. Eagles live. Lone Wanderer, that's Rye Guy. Chris says, sorry, guys, it's been a long night. Christopher Edwards says, I hate when the other team tries to get into fights with us. Sam Kirk says, sorry, 4 OT in Cape Breton. That's crazy, man. 4th overtime. Cape Breton wants it, man. They do. Kat says, the puck hit the mesh prior to goal. Play should have been dead. Yeah. So, that's my story, guys. Yeah, I hope I still have your respect. Like I said, the video will show that I was trying to break it up once it all popped off. But like I said, I could have easily just said, you know what, man, and walked away. Whether it was my pride or my ego that wouldn't allow me to, I don't know. But I don't like it. I'm not happy with what happened tonight. I know there's videos circulating, so watch them and come to your own conclusion. That's it for me, guys. I just love your live call. I appreciate you, Chris, man. But yeah, that's it for me, guys. Like I said, it's late. I'm tired. I just wanted to get on here and get ahead of this because I know it's going to be all over Facebook tomorrow because for some reason I can't do anything without it becoming frontline news. Yeah. Sorry to hear the commotion, buddy. Glad you and the family are okay. Thanks, Julian. I appreciate you, buddy. I still love you guys, Lindsay and Steven. Sam, love you too, buddy. Yeah, that's it, man. Let's really, pray and talk to the hockey gods. Send all your good energy, send all your positivity through Facebook. I don't want to hear any drama about the team. I don't want any negativity. Let's let them boys go away and get this last win for us so that we can have some more games in that building with our boys. We seen them after the game. They're very pumped. And I really believe they're pulling this out and we're going to have the win on Monday. Kat says, we still love you. Fuck the Vulture Cheers. What Frog Tours? Fog Tour? The fuck Sebastian says. That's why I don't have Facebook anymore. To your everything ends up on Facebook comments. LOLs. 100%. Go Eagles, says Ryan. Julian says hopefully Moose show up in game 6 and win it for the fans. 100%, man. And you enjoy your nice little break considering you swept your opponents, and your boys get to get some much needed rest before moving on to the next. See y'all in round 2. 100% Cat. That what we were hoping for, Julian. 80-54 for Bay Camo leading in shots. Holy shit. Have they switched goalies yet, or are they still running the same goalie? That's nuts. That's got to be a record. My goodness. All kinds of records being smashed this year. My lips are really red. My goodness. All right, guys. That's it for me. It is well after midnight. I hope you guys are all healthy, safe, and happy out there. And as always, go Moose, go.